Hi, welcome everyone. This is how the megatropolis will emerge in Anambra. Anambra already has three major cities: Onitsha, Awka and Nnewi, with Onitsha being a huge metropolis that encompasses many surrounding towns like Mpo, Ubosi, Obaru, Nkwele-Zunaka and Obunike. Onitsha is nearer to Nnewi than Awka, but as things stand right now and the current state of development, Onitsha would merge with Awka in the nearest future. This is because the Anambra International Airport is just halfway from Onitsha to Awka. It will drive a lot of development along this route. Even before the Anambra International Airport was built, Onitsha Metropolis has been expanding beyond the tollgate area, and recently a huge market in Nkwele-Zunaka along the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway was built. This huge market will spur a lot of development in the surrounding areas of Nkwele-Zunaka and Umunya because people tend to live closer to where they work. There is also a bonded container terminal being built nearby, plus another being built in Enugu, although this one is closer to Awka. This brings us to Awka, that has been expanding rapidly, with many housing estates popping up in Awka Capital Territory. There's the Awka Millennium City development, where they have started building homes. For those asking for plots in Awka Millennium City, the phase 2 of Awka Millennium City is now on sale. You can check out their website for more. Anyway, Awka is expected to grow and expand more than other cities in Anambra in the next decade. This is because of the huge inflow of investments, especially in the real estate sector. This sector, including the hospitality sector, is driving growth in Awka. Also, the new railway spur from Enugu to Awka will inevitably boost Awka's economy further. The railway is part of the 1,400-kilometer Eastern Rail Line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. When this rail line is completed in a few months, containers from eastern ports in One and Port Harcourt, all in Rivers State, will be moved by freight trains to Awka and other inland cities. There's an ongoing container terminal in Enugu near Awka, where the containers might be dumped for onward clearance, which of course you know that majority of the containers will be going to Onitsha, followed by Nnewi. These container terminals will not serve for imported goods alone, you know. It will also serve as a dry port where you can move your containerized products for export. Just like in Apapa, a lot of manufacturing companies will establish around these container terminals to make it easier for their import or export business. The Onitsha to Awka section of the Enugu-Onitsha Expressway will in a few years look like Oshodi-Apapa Expressway in Lagos. It will soon be dotted with many manufacturing companies. It wouldn't end with manufacturing companies alone. Logistic companies, freight and forwarding companies, hotels, restaurants, the entire value chain of the economy will emerge here. So the culmination of the movement of goods and services between Awka and Onitsha will turn Anambra to a megatropolis. The Anambra megatropolis won't be complete without Nnewi. Nnewi is an emerging city not just in Anambra but Nigeria at large. It is home to many huge manufacturing companies and also small and medium enterprises that produce all sorts of products. Nnewi is home to a huge market where all sorts of products are sold, from automobile parts and parts for many industrial machines to even brand new cars. Yes, made in Nigeria cars. And just like Onitsha, that has become a huge metropolis, Nnewi is expanding rapidly. The expansion has already reached the fringes of Ozubolo, southwest of Nnewi. It will ultimately merge with Okija and another lively town, Ihala, in the near future. On the eastern side, Nnewi is already indistinguishable from Nnobi. All it takes for the expansion to connect Awka is to dualize this road. This road starts from Nnewi and runs through Nnobi, Nnokwa, Orukwu, Adaziane, Nneni, Adazinuku, and Agolo. The dualization should be done in anticipation of the movement of containers from Awka area to Nnewi. Right now, many containers headed to the eastern part of the country pass through the Lagos ports, but things will change when the eastern rail line is completed in a few months. Inland container terminals will become common in many cities across the country because the three major rail lines, the Western Rail Line, the Central and the Eastern Rail Line, all terminate at the seaports. Anambra stands to benefit because of its huge commerce-based economy. Many will be wondering what happened to Onitsha River Port. Why is it not operational? The good news is that right about now they are concluding the concessioning of Onitsha River Port, and full operations is expected to start in the first quarter of this year 2022. The reality is that Onitsha River Port, when operational, will be limited in capacity and the type of container vessels it can handle. It can't handle huge container vessels like Apapa Port or other deep sea ports. Rather, only small vessels and barges can berth at Onitsha River Port. It's a river port anyway. So it makes perfect sense to provide other means of importing or exporting of products from Anambra. Emerging on the northern side of the Anambra megatropolis is the Omambala region. The expansion and growth of this region is driven by not just agriculture, but the oil and gas industry. New rice fields have been developed here of recent, with accompanying massive rice mills and irrigation systems. Growth in this sector is expected to double in the next few years. The more growth in this region, the more jobs are created and the more housing demand for workers. That's why the price of land has doubled here in the past few years. There are real estate companies that are now buying lands in bulk and reselling like they do in Awka, Abuja and Lagos. The demand for real estate will continue to increase in Otuocha, Aguleri, Umueri and the rest of the region. Umueri already hosts the Anambra International Airport, so the demand for real estate here is at its highest point. Let's not forget that there are also oil installations in this region. Orient Petroleum is mining oil and gas in Anambra River Basin. The oil and gas industry is an investment driver. Who knows, tomorrow the oil refinery may finally materialize or a huge gas plant may be built there. Anambra is rich in gas anyway. So the future looks very bright for the region. Development and expansion will continue till it merges with Nsugbe. Real estate development and new housing estates are already deep into Nkwele Zunaka. So it's only a matter of time before Nsugbe gets flooded with housing estates, thereby completing the Anambra megatropolis. Worthy mentions are historic tourist hotspots of Igbo and Nnewi. Tourism should be encouraged in these towns because of their historic significance, although they are gradually doing that like the Golden Tulip in Agolo. But more needs to be done because tourism creates a lot of jobs, and if Anambrarians want a global economy, tourism must be part of it. Other emerging clusters that will be part of the Anambra megatropolis is Ekwulobia, which is already indistinguishable from neighboring Nanka and Oko, where the Federal Polytechnic Oko is located. Ekwulobia is very close to Igbo and will benefit from the tourism that will boom around there. Even the surrounding towns of Ichida, Isuofia, Oketiti, Azigbo, Amici, Oto, and Okpo will ultimately merge with the expanding Nnewi and Ihiala part of the megatropolis. The Anambra megatropolis is achievable within the next decade. It is not a dream. Even if it is, all outlandish mega projects started their lives first as a dream before they went to the drawing table and then became reality. So it is very much achievable if the leaders and Anambrarians are committed to it. Alright, if you've come this far, that means you share the dream of a developed and technologically advanced Anambra megatropolis. Do subscribe to our channel for more and enable notification. Till next time, thanks for watching.